Jim and Terry Show, still, well, I was going to say still fresh.
I'm starting to perk up now after 1 hour trying to get the computer going. Thank goodness I had a good breakfast. Brought to you by Terry Wigmore, the servant of man.
Okay, well, that's a heck of an introduction to follow. We're going to finish off today's podcast. Well, we're still sort of fresh. Wrapping up a few, this is our potpourri, bunch of stuff that we maybe should have said, could have said, but didn't say.
I'd like to say smorgasbord.
You're smorgasbord. Okay, you smorgasbord start off the podcast with a smorgasbord. What do you want to say? I want to go back to, have you heard? So that's our thing. So have you heard that stuff going around the internet? I'm not saying sources that I think are credible, but have you heard it's just the spurious stuff that perhaps the assassin for Charlie Kirk was from behind.
Now this is perfect coffee house, in a restaurant talking. And this is what the show's supposed to be about. I hadn't heard that, but it's fascinating because it could be true. Then why was he assassinated? Then you can link everything together because it would solidify the movement within the youth, and it would get rid of someone who wanted the Epstein files released. Whoa.
No, so we've seen a lot of movement. Benny Johnson, who spoke at the Charlie Kirk funeral, was one who said he didn't. He changed his mind. Joe Rogan did not want the Epstein file, wanted the Epstein file, doesn't want the Epstein file. He's doing about phase 2.
Why wouldn't anybody want it?
Everybody wanted
it. Everybody's upset because we're going to be upset who's in that file.
I'm not going to be upset.
Even if Trump isn't in there, we're going to be disappointed.
We're going to find out somebody that we know and valued is going to be in there.
Maybe admired. And 18,
who knows?
18 times you were there?
Who knows who's in that list?
Yeah.
Who knows who's in the logs? Who knows who's in the files that,
but
what's his name, Kash Patel?
The biggest pedophile in the freaking world needs to be exposed. And if this is a ring of pedophiles,
including royals
and everything, and
oligarchs, and a Canadian billionaire,
Fergie's been removed. Did you know that?
What? No.
Because like 3 months after he got convicted or something, she sent him we love you, supporting, blah, 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 email to him. So all of her charities are dropping her like she's poop.
Really?
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that. So this is interesting.
So have you heard?
Have you heard? No, I didn't hear that. So will the Epstein files be released? Or are they buried forever now? We'll never know.
I think...
How about the victims?
I think it's a real possibility that more people will die before it is released.
Oh, so you're going to say that
assassinations,
people being knocked off in order to stay quiet?
Yeah, because I do believe Epstein was murdered.
Okay,
he just knew too much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just my belief, folks.
Okay. Other things that you may or may not have heard? Is there stuff that you are aware of that in the smorgasbord?
Well, we talked about the recent elections that have changed the House in the United States, where they can now vote and insist that the Epstein files are released.
Unless Mike Johnson
cancels government.
Yes.
And he's done it before.
Yes.
Early recession. And now they're actually talking about dismantling the government. And you think there's going to be election?
Yeah,
you think there's going to be an election?
So the connection
no way.
between this is all about money. Follow the money. So if you cancel Congress, you don't get a vote on the Epstein files, but you don't get the finances for running government.
Yeah.
So if
you
there's
ruin
no
everything
money
to protect those people.
So who's going to protect those people? Are you going to just pass the bill just because you want to
ruin everything and they still are rich?
There you go.
They still have their yachts. They still have their money. And everybody else suffers. Everybody else suffers. Other countries suffer. This is going to get dirty. And some high-pressured people are going to have to say there is the final solution. And that is we need to retake the country.
In the movie Civil War, just to revisit that one, do you remember where the final scenes were?
Yes, I did.
So who was in power at the time? And what happened to that individual?
They actually didn't say what party, did they?
No, they didn't.
They cleverly kept that out.
That's right. So,
but we all thought, knew who we were thinking.
And what was his problem and what happened to him? What did he try to do? What happened? Do you remember the final?
At the end?
Yeah.
When he said, "Oh, don't let them hurt me." Bang, right in the head. Yeah.
There you go.
And but the sad thing is you see, I think the anger will, if it ends up in something like that, the last Civil War in the United States, they say we're the bloodiest war going, and a lot of people died, didn't have to, because of arrogance, just what they wanted instead of what was right. And so this one would be, I'm thinking that movie may have nailed the anger of it. We're not even going to listen to you. If you're on that guy's side, you're dead. And that's like Israel going against Hamas. If you're Hamas, you're dead. That's why they're not accepting what's going on. I feel bad for the suffering people, but Hamas is making them suffer. Same anger as Israel. We're killing you all. That'll be the atmosphere, I think, if a civil war breaks out in the United States.
Okay, so that phrase, we're killing them all, so the objective, we're killing you, not us. So who's the you? In Ukraine and Russia, Russia wants to annihilate Ukraine.
Yeah. Genocide.
They don't want anybody left. They want to take the kids. They've already taken them. Carney already spoke about Russia stealing Ukrainian children. So we got that kind of going on. We'll kill them all. They don't want Ukraine. I mean, they want a desolate, bleak Ukraine. It's totally wiped out. Now we got the United States, where it's us and them, the North versus South, or progressive versus regressive. I don't know what the lines are, but the threat is we're going to take you all out, including, the words of the wife of Charlie Kirk. Them.
Yeah, them. You can't say him.
Nope.
I forgive him. You had to say them.
Them.
Which meant there's an army to go against.
That's right. So that's
and a lot of those guys were talking about a war. We're in a war. We're in a war.
Yeah. Yeah,
all right, fine. You're fanning the flames. Now, I do think it very much is going to be, it could be white against color, because that's one of the areas. It could be economically. White against color, this latest shooter in Dallas is a Mexican nationalist, I think, 29 years old.
The ICE shooting?
Against ISIS, but killed his own people.
Yeah.
Just frustrated with it. Everybody in the United States has guns. So one of these breakouts is going to go a lot worse than just 5 people getting shot.
And you might not be able to contain it.
Then you have the economic situation where you've got the 4th largest economy in the world being California, not the United States, California, and Trump waging war on California in certain ways. You got that front that you got to deal with, and then you got the political front, and all that mixed up with a president that has no intentions of not being president ever again.
Where's staying in office, never leaving office.
Where's it going to go?
Where
can it go?
There's only one way to go. You write the books and you got the movie in your head.
Yeah.
So tell me the ending so I don't
know the ending. I think the ending would be taking back a nation, but the whole world was going to be taken back, and it would leave the whole world vulnerable to Putin's. So you best deal with Putin now, folks.
Let's put on the Canadian patch on our backpack. And by the way, I was watching a podcast that talked about the number of people who are putting Canadian flags back on their backpacks the way it was in the 70s and 80s.
And I think more tourists have come into Canada than have gone into the States now.
Yeah, the United States is, I'm not sure where I think it comes from some kind of International Bureau of Tourism, that the United States is one of the only countries who's seen a decline in tourism.
That's Trump.
And that's the Trump factor.
Yep, the Trump factor. He ruins everything, like your book said.
The book is true. There's a good one. Rick Wilson, what a great title. Only I like my wife's revisiting of the title. The original title is Everything Trump Touches Dies, and I think she said everything, Trump F's everything.
Yeah.
I think that's closer, given the scandal with Epstein. That's probably true.
Yeah, well, it looks that way to me from this observation point.
Yeah.
Like everybody that deals with him, eventually is going to have their up-ins. Look at Giuliani. Where is he?
Well, did not Oh, yeah.
Where is he? He was his greatest advocate, for Trump.
How about Alan Dershowitz, the great lawyer? can't even get a milkshake in Martha's Vineyard anymore.
Yeah. Everybody that jumped on my pillow, I'm sure he's still got millions socked away, but wasn't he sued for millions?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that not Joe Rogan, what's the other guy? Sandy Hook. Sandy Hook was a fake.
Alex Jones.
Like 1.4 billion sued for, because he took on the same mantle as this macho attitude, which means you just lie and get away with it.
Let's go back to the most corrupt politician ever, which is Donald Trump, and talk about he's going on the retribution tour. He's looking for James Comey. He already fired his daughter. He's looking to go after the father. He's looking after Adam Schiff.
Yeah.
He's looking after
anybody, even though they're right. I mean, you're just doing your job. I am a prosecutor.
He's going to fire, if I'm not mistaken, so have you heard, the FBI agent who investigated Sandy Hook. Talk about a circle that closes.
Holy moly.
Does this get deeper and deeper? It's a downward spiral of cesspool going down. I don't know how low this goes.
Well, how can it ever come out, Terry? Seriously, because it's just, this is the diarrhea of governing.
Yes.
I mean, how can it come out of this? Well, it's so... I wouldn't believe I'd see these days, to tell you the truth. That's how weird.
You mean the last days?
Well, yeah. Talk about a strong delusion.
Oh, boy. That's another reference to a Jim Sampson song, Strong Delusion. Is there a link in the description that we should put for that one?
No, because that was Strong Delusion is a song in my mind, I think. You're thinking Prophets, Priests, and Poets. Oh, and by the way, there's like 4 hurricanes off the coast of America right now, off the East Coast.
Do you have anything good to share?
One of those lines talks about that.
Oh boy, the Jim and Terry Show coming to you from the Hobbit Hole Studio in Bob Cajun. Take care now. Bye-bye.